2 cents an acre. That's what the US paid for a territory 5 times the size of France. In 1867, Russia sold Alaska to the Americans for a little over $7 million. By today's standards, the price of a single New York apartment for an entire state. American newspapers at the time openly mocked their own government, calling it Seward's icebox after the Secretary of State who signed the deal, and calling it the dumbest waste of money in the country's history. No one knew yet that gold would be found there. No one knew yet that oil would be found there. Now the question, what if Russia had simply refused to sell? To understand what was actually at stake, you need to remember one detail people usually leave out. Russia had just lost the Crimean War. The treasury was empty. And right next to Alaska, in Canada, the British Navy ran the show completely, the very same Navy that had just humiliated Russia in Crimea. Here's the reality. If another war broke out, Britain would simply take Alaska by force. For free. Russia had no way to defend it. A colony on the other side of the globe, impossible to reach faster than the British could reach it from neighboring Canada. So the Tsar wasn't facing a choice of sell or don't. He was facing a choice, sell for money now, or lose it for free a little later. He chose the former. And this is where the really interesting fork begins. Suppose the Tsar takes the risk anyway, holds on to Alaska no matter what. The first and most likely scenario, Alaska still doesn't stay Russian for long. At that point, fewer than 1,000 Russian settlers lived there, across a territory half the size of Europe. Britain, or an already independent Canada, sooner or later just bites off that chunk at the first convenient conflict, and this time Russia gets nothing at all. But let's push further down this fork, and imagine that, by some miracle, Russia holds the territory all the way into the 20th century. Then the geography of world politics would look completely different. Alaska is separated from mainland Russia by the Bering Strait, under 90 kilometers at its narrowest point. Even today there are 2 islands there, one Russian, one American, just a few kilometers apart. Imagine, not the Berlin Wall as the main symbol of the Cold War, but this very strait, a line where 2 superpowers stand face to face, a couple of hours' flight from mainland America. And now, the moment this whole story has been building to. Just 30 years after the sale, gold was discovered on that land. The Klondike Gold Rush, tens of thousands of prospectors, rivers of money flowing into the American economy. And a few decades after that, oil will be found there too, which today makes Alaska one of the highest per capita income states in the entire US. Russia let go of the territory just a couple of decades before it turned into one of the richest places on the planet. Sit with the irony. Selling the land to survive turned out to be the very same mistake as missing out on one of the great fortunes of the 20th century. One and the same decision. And here's the part that should really get to you. If that deal had never happened, someone living in America today simply wouldn't be American. Not some abstract historical detail about kings and treaties, but a real question of citizenship, language, and passport for a living person, depending on which side of that narrow strait their great-grandparents were born. One signature, 2 cents an acre, and a border between 2 superpowers that today could be running not through Europe, but a couple of hours' flight from Alaska. So was the Tsar right to sell the territory, or was it the most expensive mistake in Russian history? Leave a comment. Would you have sold Alaska in 1867, or taken the risk of holding on to it, knowing how it might turn out? And if these historical forks grab you the way they grab me, subscribe. There are more stories coming where everything could have gone completely differently.